training, who are undergoing amphibious training, and green-berry personnel, most of which have served in Afghanistan or Iraq. I say most of which, some 70% of the Royal Marines Reserve have been on operation since 2003, and our Royal Marines Reserve Bristol is no different. So what you see now, you see Corporal Williams bringing his section in front of us here, and we have a second course being provided by two sections from Royal Marines Reserve Bristol. Two guys you see at the centre of beat, like watching their men, and someone who's Rob Cooper. I have to tell that if Erica from the Aruba bar is watching today, Rob Cooper is not a dolphin trainer, as he told you. He is in fact a Royal Marine Sergeant, and here is there today providing all the command and control support to his troop commander, who is Captain Chris Kevin. Chris, of course, has a day job as a reservist. His day job is a police officer, and he's able to mix and match his careers pretty cleverly, having deployed in Afghanistan and in Iraq, as has Sergeant Cooper. The key point now is the beach is secure. The entitled personnel, you might wonder why they've been ignored. They're not really the business of the Royal Marines. The Royal Marines are there to secure the beach, to ensure that those entitled personnel have an environment within which we can extract them. And the next vehicle in, especially to that day, is the landing craft utility. A huge landing craft with incredible capability, 500 nautical miles, flying speed of 8 knots, and is able to carry up to 5 Viking vehicles. What's a Viking, I hear you ask? Well, wait and see. But she's also able to take 120 fully laden Royal Marines, and today she's carrying over to the Army, the Territorial Army, from West Germany, who are there to secure the issue and extract those vital personnel. If we look back out to Mountain Bay, you'll see that the Sea King 4 has lifted off her deck. This is the final shore of the naval service. We've had the Royal Eagle Corps, we've had the Royal Navy, we've seen the Royal Marines at my feet, and this is the fleet there.
Good idea.
With no apology, and 20 plus years experience of it, I can say the fleet there are the best helicopter pilots in the world. Simply, they take us anywhere we want to go, and most importantly, they come and get us back when we need to be extracted from hostile and unpleasant areas. We have a Sea King 4 today flown by David John Gibbs, one of our most experienced fleet air-on pilots, and I say most experienced, we have 10 fleet Sea Kings, Royal Naval Sea Kings, operated by the fleet air-on, currently on station in Afghanistan. A mixture of the 6 carrying bearings you see today, seen in a rather sexy green and white Arctic stripe. But you also have a star bearing, which is able to put in a radar to look for enemies. So the CA have now landed, and they have got themselves into a position to secure and look after the entitled personnel. And suddenly we have a contact to my left. Their rebels have entered the beach, and they've opened up. Immediately Captain Kedward suppresses them with overwhelming firepower, and the standard operating procedure and SOP calls in the landing craft utility to bring the Vikings to provide us intimate fire support to ensure that we can fight through. And we can hear HMS Tyne is sounding her horn to ensure that those boat lanes are kept clear. And if you look behind the landing craft to her stern, you'll see an enemy vehicle, enemy vessel has entered the boat lane, and she is being deterred by Tyne as we speak. And suddenly the Viking is ashore. This is an extraordinarily capable vehicle, exclusively used by the Royal Marines, designed by us, and she is capable of going anywhere. She can swim, she can wade, she can carry 8 Royal Marines, and she comes to a halt on the beach, and the fire team of 8 men take themselves up and get onto that vessel, that Viking, in order to suppress the enemy. This is now the most critical part of the assault. Captain Kedward is ensuring that his men build their way to fire to suppress any enemy, and then he will move his fire team along the beach. As we look towards the entitled personnel as they are being rendered safe and protected, Captain Kedward calls forward further reinforcements, and if you look at the Sea King is now hovering over the landing craft in order to deploy a reinforcement by fast rope. Ladies and gentlemen, fast rope is not an abseil. These men are not attached to the rope, they are just hanging on to it for grim death, certainly, as they slide down. A very quick and effective way of deploying men onto more or less any platform. The fire team are now in position, 8 men debuffed. The rate of fire builds from that general purpose machine gun on top of the Viking, as Captain Kedward now starts to sequence or think about sequencing his assault. The rope is down, his reinforcements are looking to come through, as he's now ready to launch. First section are up, covered by their second section. You'll see them take short bounds down, and the next section ready to move as the weight fires. The first man is down the rope. First man is into the landing craft, ensuring that we have reinforcements should we be retasked onto something else at a later stage. The assault will now build, and this is one of those things you really have to be patient as a commander and let the cards gently fall for you as you try and manage the real estate around you so that this assault happens effectively. You don't bite off more than you can chew, and you just move methodically up the beach. Another man comes down the rope, and the landing craft is filling with a Royal Marine sniper team ready to provide us that intimate support, that ISTAR support, that information surveillance, target acquisition and reconnaissance, to make us look beyond the beach to ensure that rebels, once we've suppressed this lot, aren't able to come back onto the beach and make things worse for them. The Sea King slips up, and you'll need to recover that rope very, very carefully. So, the pressure is building now on the rebels as they're surrounded on 2 sides. Captain Kedward is looking to fight through that last 20 metres to ensure that his men protect those entitled personnel. This is really going back to my previous point about the rheostatic ring. We've seen humanitarian and gentle, soft footprints on the ground thickening very, very swiftly into a very kinetic and violent and really effective way of suppressing. We're not going to see us, or we hope you won't see us attacking beaches as we did in the Second World War anymore. We are a more sophisticated and flexible force now. It is about providing the British government with a flexible, scalable and versatile force to react. We have had been fully installed on Mount Bay for some weeks, as we had with the team off Libya, as they were lurking, as we call it, or poising in the littoral around Libya. He is conducting now. He is looking beyond the immediate beach area to ensure that no further enemy incursions happen into our AO, our area of operation. And he's also a show of force capability to scare off further enemy from being stupid enough to take us on. So, you'll see now the Viking will debuff those 8 men, and she will look to extract right onto the landing craft. Some action still going on out at sea. You have the enemy hostile patrol vessel is being fired on by time to ensure that we suppress and keep our boat lane secure. So back to the Viking, 4 men out, 5 men out, there's 8 there to come. So the commander is just waiting to speak to the Viking operator to make sure all his men are out as they now reverse at great speed. You might well notice that what we're doing today is sequenced tightly. That's not just because it's a display for you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's because we have a very highly performed and scheduled standard operating procedures. The Viking reversing looks simple. In reality, very, very difficult. David Johnson now overflies us in the Sea King. He's going to be off task. As he performs a wing over, there's really nothing that man can't do with a helicopter, except possibly bake bread, but he can pick the milk up en route. So the entitled personnel are now extracting across the sea. The ambassador really most unseemly getting his feet wet. The key thing now is for us to extract, get ourselves back on the mountain space and reconfigure. This could be one of any number of operations. Captain Kedward's men will reload, recock and get themselves ready for the next tasking. He gets the cordon shrinking all the time till he's back in that original tight open square. Back on the landing craft, you have the army looking to get all of those entitled personnel. I'm sure there's a slight sense of disappointment from some of the embassy wives that they're not being handled by the Royal Marines, but we can resolve that later back on the Mount Bay. The army are doing a fantastic job ensuring the safety of all those entitled personnel. It's very nice to see the ambassador being put on safely and the vehicle deck filled with the army ranks and the entitled personnel. So what happens now? You could argue that it's more or less over. The reality is this is probably the most dangerous part of the whole operation. The cordon is shrinking, therefore our available firepower on the beach is reducing. We have one of our assets, the landing craft utility, fixed as she is loading, and it's very important that the overflight from that Sea King continues to provide to deter any further enemy incursions. HMS Tyne has taken our position across those boat lanes to allow us a safe transit back to the Mount Bay, where the amphibious task group is commanded. And as I said, we will almost certainly be being retasked on another operation of a similar nature. Could be further down the beach. As the first section is up, you will note that each man runs past, picks up his next man. You can tap him, you can shout at him. We don't leave anybody on the beach, and it's essential that the man next to you knows you're going, and the last man, he will come on, he'll speak to the landing craft coxswain, and he will say last man. You'll see Captain Kedward look to pick himself and his troop HQ up. He will come up at the end of the second section, the third section follows. Why is he not last man on? Well, he's best configured for any threat to be right bang in the middle of his troop, overflying by the Sea King as he's at his most vulnerable. Getting back on that landing craft, the re-embarkation process is covered by that remaining 6 or 7 men of that initial extraction party. They've been pretty busy boys actually. They've had the first in, they'll be the last out, and they've been on the Viking to provide that intimate fire support for the assault. This will be happening quietly, unhurried, words over the radio, calling in elements in. The landing craft, up goes the ramp, as soon as she starts backing off, in come those again, very important to be overflown as that extraction starts. So, the extraction commander, Lieutenant Buckland, he's a copper from Derby. We're not going to hold that against him. This is his first amphibious exercise and has been learning all the time.